Welcome to Property First Show, your go-to show for all real estate matters, brought to you by Babsemo Communications. I hope you had a wonderful day. Well, on today's show is going to be exciting, and believe me when I tell you that I am here to keep you company. My name is Eve. Thank you for tuning in, and it's indeed a delight to be with you all. But before we go any further, I would like to say a big thank you to our audience who are always tuning in and always keeping in touch with us. Believe me when I tell you that you are not taken for granted. We'd also like to say a big thank you to our social media family on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. But if you're yet to be a part of that family, please follow at Property First Show on all the social media platforms. We'd also like to thank those who call in and send their text messages asking about our featured properties from the Property Showcase segment. If you missed our previous episodes on the women in the real estate industry or any of our previous episodes, please go on YouTube and search the Property First Show. Subscribe, like, and comment. Do you have any property for sale, let or lease, or you want featured on our program? Are you into the real estate business? Do you have any real estate event coming up and you want to cover it? Then please call 090-2023-2719 or 081-865-33938 and we've got you covered. If you've ever rented a property as a tenant or you are a tenant, if you're a landlord who has rented property to a tenant, then this episode is just for you, as we'll be zeroing in on an issue that crops up frequently between a landlord and a tenant, the issue of eviction. What are the issues involved vis-a-vis the rights of a tenant and a landlord? But before we delve into all that, I'm sure you will not be able to resist the two properties that I have for you. Please enjoy. The two properties we have for you today are located in the Highbrow neighborhoods of Banana Island and Parkview Estate in EKOWU, Lagos. The first of these developments is a 4-bedroom semi-detached house located in Banana Island, EKOWU, Lagos. Banana Island hosts several high-end residential developments and has some of the most expensive real estate in Nigeria. This property is a 4-bedroom semi-detached house in Banana Island, EKOWU, Lagos. Come with me as we take a look around. A widely spacious fully tiled living room that extends to the dining area with split unit air conditioners in wooden casements. We're inside the house and it has a very spacious living room and an adjoining dining area. Next to the dining area is the kitchen. Now let's go into the kitchen. Check out this door. It's an Italian marble door. How about take a look inside? This kitchen is fully furnished with kitchen cabinets, marble tiled surfaces with wash hand basin, gas cooker with heat extractor, microwave oven, AC in the kitchen, double door refrigerator and storage. A tiled staircase with wrought iron hand railings leads up to the upper floors. So now we're going to the first floor. On the first floor of this building are 3 of the bedrooms and 2 box rooms. All the bedrooms are in suite with cubicle showers with fitted wardrobes. And this is where you have the 3 bedrooms, all in suite. You have 2 box rooms. It's one of the rooms, this is another room, and this is another room. So come if you want to check out one of the rooms. Next up is the second floor where you have the master bedroom. Please come with me. Now this is the master bedroom. Let's check it out. On the second floor is where we have the master bedroom. The master bedroom is very spacious with a walk-in closet, fitted wardrobe, air conditioners. It has a massive bathroom with jacuzzi, cubicle shower, WC, urinals and wash hand basins. It also has a kitchenette and a balcony with a view of the neighborhood. Within the premises are 2 rooms boys' quarters, 1 maid's room, a gated security house, and a sliding gate. A generator area with 60 kVA generator installed, a water treatment plant, and a large compound with ample parking space. This property is going for 550 million naira net. Now, let's move to Parkview Estate, where the other property for the week is located. Parkview Estate is a luxurious suburb of EKOWU in Lagos. It is bordered by Gerrard Road and Banana Island. The estate is majorly residential. This property is a 2-bedroom apartment in an apartment block called Lily Court. It consists of an average-sized living room with a dining area. The bedrooms are en suite with cubicle shower and fitted wardrobes. The kitchen is fitted with a washing machine and dryer, gas cooker with heat extractor, microwave oven, marble work surface, and kitchen cabinets. Other features include marble tiled flooring, air conditioning in all the rooms and kitchen, intercom, and an elevator. There's also a 1-room boys' quarters. Within the apartment block is a large compound with ample parking space. Power and water supply is adequately provided with standby generators to complement public power supply. This property is going for 51 million naira net. Lovely properties. If you're interested in any of these properties, please call 090-2023-2719, 081-865-33938. You can also send an email to propertyfirst@babsomocommunications.com, and you can also send a DM to any of our social media platforms. Let's take a break, and when we return, we'll be updating you on the recent happenings in the real estate industry. Real Estate Digest is brought to you by Nightstone Properties. Minister for Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola urges Lagos State Government to provide land for National Housing Program. Court sentences developer to 2,670 years imprisonment for defrauding 133 tenants. Experts attribute increasing housing deficit in Nigeria to policy inconsistencies by successive administrations. Landowners in EKOWU allege violation of court order. Federal government sets aside 199 billion naira to tackle critical infrastructure projects. Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board says it has assisted 30,000 civil servants to build their houses. Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Alhaji Suleiman Zama, says National Housing Program is designed to help persons with disabilities. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, advocates for comprehensive social housing roadmap to tackle the huge housing deficit in the country. Developers lament dearth of funds for investment in real estate. Real Estate Digest was brought to you by Nightstone Properties. Relationships are a bane of our existence. They sustain us and they also keep us together. Now, one fact of relationship that we cannot escape is the relationship between the landlord and the tenant. Now, the relationship between the landlord and the tenant is an association which brings two individuals together in which one person occupies the other real's property with permission and is subjected to a rental fee. Today on the expert segment, we have someone who is versed in all of these issues. He is VITALIS NNAEMEKA EKOWU, and he'll be shedding light on the conflict resolution between landlord and tenant. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Now, starting with the issue of tenants and landlord. Now, back in the day, landlord could just wake up one morning and decide that he doesn't want his tenants in the house anymore or in the apartment anymore. But nowadays, it doesn't happen as much as it used to. What do you think has changed?
Well, people are becoming very, very conscious of what the law says about tenancy. We have the tenancy law in place. Gone are the days, as you rightly stated, the landlord will just wake up and say, you leave my house because you've not paid. No, you can no longer do that. There is a laid down rule that you must follow before you can successfully evict your tenant. For instance, if you are moving into an apartment, it is expected that you have a contract that governs the relationship. It's very important. You could call it a tenancy agreement or a lease agreement. If it's less than 3 years, you call it tenancy agreement. But if it's more than 3 years, you call it a lease agreement. That agreement governs the relationship between the landlord and the tenant. In that agreement, it's going to be stated. For instance, if you're a yearly tenant, there is a required number of months you need to give to the tenants. A yearly tenant, as a landlord, you're expected to give a yearly tenant 6 months notice. Upon the expiration of the 6 months notice, you serve another 7 days owner's intention to recover possession before you can proceed to court. Failure to do that, there is no way, no court will grant you possession. These are the laid down rules that must be observed.
Sir, you mentioned something about tenancy agreements and lease agreements. Are you saying tenancy agreement is for just residential while lease agreement is commercial?
Most times it applies to the two. It all depends on the relationship you're going into. For instance, if you decide to lease a property for like more than 3 years, it's a lease agreement. Okay? It could be a corporate body, it could be an individual. Do you understand? It's not stated in the law that it must be a corporate body or it must be an individual. It all depends on the one you can afford. But going by the extant tenancy law of Lagos State, they say as a tenant, you cannot do more than 1 year. You cannot pay for more than 1 year. That is what the law states. Any landlord that is asking for more than 1 year should know that he's doing that outside the law. You can't do that under the cover of the law. The tenancy law made it very, very clear that it's just 1 year. So to a large extent, it discourages the issue of longer terms that comes within the purview of lease agreements. But that is your choice though.
So what rights do tenants have as regards to quit notice?
Well, a tenant has the rights. For instance, it all depends, I said earlier, it all depends on the nature of your tenancy. You recall we have monthly tenants, we have yearly tenants, and we have quarterly tenants. Do you understand? It all depends on where you fall. If you are a yearly tenant, that means, and your own is subject to renewal. Subject to renewal means that after upon the expiration, you can still renew. Both of you will go into another agreement. Okay? Then that means you are entitled to 6 months notice. The landlord will oblige you with 6 months notice. Upon the expiration of the 6 months notice, the landlord will still give you another 7 days notice before he proceeds to court. If not, these two notices are called statutory notices. They are very, very fundamental. Any landlord that approaches the court without complying with this notice, that means the suit is defective ab initio. Do you understand? There is no way the said landlord will recover that possession. Even if the 6 months is short of 1 day, if you can establish, because we have plethora of authorities to that effect. There's so many Supreme Court authorities. It must be 6 months. That is for a yearly tenant, okay? But for a monthly tenant, if you are a monthly tenant, for instance, you pay your rent monthly. Every month you just pay your landlord your monthly tenant. You are required, the landlord rather, is required to give 1 month notice. And nothing more than that. After 1 month notice, he will now give 7 days owner's intention to recover possession before proceeding to court.
For our viewers at home, can you tell us what security of tenure means?
Security means that the landlord cannot come in and evict you without complying with the laid down rules. Your tenure is somewhat secured. It is only the court that has the power to grant the landlord possession of your apartment. Okay? He cannot. If the landlord comes into your apartment without your notice, it amounts to trespass because you are in possession. He doesn't have the right. Once he has granted you possession, he has to comply with the laid down law, with the extant law, before he can recover it. So with that, your tenure is secured. Unlike someone who just barge into you and tell you, move, move, move. Unless you're a tenancy at will. Maybe you're a squatter or a licensee. But if you have a secure tenure, they must go by what the law says.
What factors determines the length of quit notice from the landlords?
Okay, the factors, it all depends on the agreement entered into from the beginning. What kind of agreements? For instance, if you have a tenancy agreement with a landlord, they will look at it. What is stated? Is there any clause to the effect that is a yearly tenancy or not? Is there any clause to the effect that is a monthly tenancy? Or even in the absence of such agreement, they'll check your mode of payment. How do you make your payments? The court will look at how do you make your payments from your receipts of payments. Do you pay yearly or do you pay monthly? Do you understand? If the court discovers that, oh, this man makes his payments yearly, okay, invariably he's a yearly tenant. And because of that, you have to give him 6 months notice, okay, before proceeding to court.
Can a landlord eject his tenant without taking his tenant to court?
No, not at all. That would be taking the laws into his own hands. A landlord cannot do that. But there is something I want to discuss here, which a lot of people out there may not know. Now, there is what we call certainty. If we import certainty in the agreement, for instance, you say 1 year certain. Okay? If you say 1 year certain, that does not mean you are entitled. With that, you are no longer entitled to 6 months notice. If a landlord is preparing the agreement and he puts 1 year certain, the implication is this, that upon the expiration of that 1 year, the only thing he needs to do is to serve you 7 days notice and proceed to court. That will automatically obviate serving you the required 6 months notice. Just because of that word there, certain. Okay? So that is just it. But in absence of that, if it's going to be renewable, he has to serve you 6 months notice.
In regards to the rights of the landlord, what are the rules that must be followed by the landlord before evicting a tenant from his property?
Well, before a landlord can evict a tenant, The law requires a landlord to establish the use. You have to tell the court that, well, it's because this person is constituting a nuisance in the premises. I want to use it for my own personal use, or maybe just come up with any reason. Do you understand? You cannot just tell the court, I want to use it. No, I want to leave my house. No. You have to establish to the court that, well, I want to use this premises. This man is a very bad tenant. He's constituting nuisance in the property. And because of that, I want to do this. And now that you want to recover it, you must comply with the laid down rule. That does not mean simply because you want to use the property or because the person is constituting a nuisance to the property, you just throw the person away that way. You have to comply. If you're in Lagos, you have to comply with the tenancy law of Lagos State. And that law made it abundantly clear that you have to issue the mandatory statutory notices.
In a case where a quit notice has been served or expired and the tenant refuses to vacate the property, is it possible or is it proper for a landlord to evict the tenant with force?
There is no way. A landlord does not have that right. Upon the expiration of the quit notice, you are still duty bound as a landlord. It still behoves on you to serve another 7 days notice. After the expiration of 7 days notice and the tenant remains adamant, you now approach a court. Okay? It's at that point you now instruct your lawyer to approach a court to recover your property from you. If you try to eject a tenant forcibly, that means you're going outside the law. And the tenant can maintain an action against you in court, can comfortably maintain an action because it amounts to trespass. I mentioned earlier that you don't have the right, it's the court. Even if you feign to be ignorant of it, you and I know that ignorance of the law is not an excuse anywhere. It is not an excuse. So that's it.
So basically, it means whether 6 months or 7 days, at the end of the day, it's the court that determines the final say.
That's just the truth.
But is it possible for the conflict between the landlord and the tenant to be resolved outside the court?
If the two decide to go into what we call ADR, do you understand? Probably the landlord may be very understanding and the tenant is equally understanding. Some tenants will tell you, sorry, I don't want to go to court with my landlord. I don't like it, okay? Please, just give me 1 month. Do you understand? I'll move out of your premises, okay? But if you do that, most times it will be at the detriment of the landlord. Because anything done outside the court is not binding on the person. You can give the person or the tenant 1 month to move out. Maybe after 1 month he's still there. He will come back and tell you, sorry sir, I don't have money or I've not gotten a place. But if you institute an action in court upon the expiration of the 6 month notice or the 1 month notice or the 3 months notice, then you serve the mandatory 7 days owner's intention to recover possession. Okay? After that, you institute a recovery suit in court. When the suit is pending in court, before trial or even during trial, the parties can decide, okay, please, let us just settle this matter amicably, okay? How long do you want? Okay? He will say, okay, I want only 2 months. Then you enter into what we call terms of settlement. The terms of settlement will now be filed in court and be made a judgment of the court. Such judgment is called consent judgment of the court. With that consent judgment of the court, if the tenant becomes recalcitrant, okay, you can now go for execution. You understand? You now go back and execute that judgment. But if you just enter into an agreement outside the court, there is no way you can enforce it. If you enforce it with the policeman, you are doing it at your own risk because you are not carrying out the enforcement pursuant to any order. Do you understand? If you must do any enforcement, it must be pursuant to an order of court. Order of court, okay? That is the only way you can carry out a legitimate execution.
For indigenous people in Nigeria or with maybe little or no education who do not have an understanding or an idea of tenancy agreement, what would be your advice to such people in regards to tenancy agreements between the landlord and they as tenants?
Well, I understand you. Some people they may not be aware of the provisions of the law. Well, my advice is this: whatever you're doing, before you enter into an agreement, a tenancy agreement, please, if you have a lawyer friend, consult a lawyer. Give the lawyer the copy of the agreement before you execute it. When I mean execute, before you sign it, give it to a lawyer. Let him go through it, okay, and advise you accordingly. Because most of the lawyers, some of the lawyers that is a technical aspect of law, they just put for time certain and you may not know. You may be banking on the fact that I paid for yearly rent. Why are they coming to throw me and we can't do this? Not knowing what is in your agreements. Do you understand? That is for time certain. And if you are not a lawyer, there is no how you will know this. Okay? So my advice is this. Please, I know it's difficult, but I want to believe that any average person in the society should try, no matter what. Consult lawyers. Consult lawyers. Let them look into your agreements. Before you assume possession of any property, probably you can whisper to any of your lawyers or your lawyer friends to come and help you check the agreements. It will help you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was very enlightening on issues between tenants and landlords. So we hope you oblige us when next we come.
Thank you so much. I will.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Join me next week with another exciting episode. For advert placements, please call 090-2023-2719 or 081-865-33938. Thank you for watching. My name is Eve. Bye-bye.